day, ladies and gentlemen. It is Thursday, January 28th, 2021. I'm here with a fellow that should be familiar to HRA subscribers, certainly. Tim Moody is the CEO of Pan Global Resources. Pan Global trades on the venture, symbols PGZ, also trades in the US under PGNRF. It's been an extremely solid stock. It had a great run last year. It's trading pretty comfortably in the 50 to 60 cent range now. There's been a little bit of a lull as labs, even in Ireland, slowed down like they have everywhere else. So Tim is still actually waiting for a few holes from the last program. But yesterday, Pan Global announced they were about to start the phase 4 drill program, which is going to be 20 holes. And certainly in conversations with Tim, he's made it pretty plain that 20 holes is probably just the opening salvo. I'm going to get Tim to just kind of walk us through what the overall game plan is with this phase 4. If you look at the slide, which is dominating the screen right now, you'll see the sort of the magenta and yellow conductors, which is something, those are something we've seen many times before. You can see the past and the phase 3 drill holes in red and blue circles. Those are the collars. But importantly, take a look at the red outline that surrounds that. That gives you a pretty good indication of the aerial extent of what Tim wants to test this drill phase. So can you sort of give us an overall sense of what the plan here is, Tim, and why you're moving the drills in the directions that you are?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Eric. Yeah, so at this stage, we've tested. Well, our drill holes have really been focused on a sort of an area about 800 meters by 300 meters thereabouts. So, and every drill hole so far has hit copper mineralization. So we've completed 28 drill holes to date, and there's about 7 holes that we're still waiting for results on. We should have those. In fact, it's just starting to come in. We should have the full 7 by hopefully early February. So they could impact priorities a little bit as well. The drilling is showing the mineralisation is completely open. I think we've got sort of a number of things that the drilling in the western area. It's near surface, shallow mineralisation. Our hole 20 was one of our most recently reported drill holes. Great intersection from near surface. The recent drill holes we released before that were a row in the north here. It's all showing that the mineralisation is completely open in the west, and it's completely open down dip. Over in the eastern area, we did some step out holes. We didn't have access to the south to begin with, and those our northeasternmost hole hit massive chunk of poro. Not very thick, about half meter to a bit over a meter of really high grade stuff, but within a broader package of good copper mineralisation as well. So, and every hole we've drilled, a step back from that, have hit massive sulfide as well. So,
right.
So we've just started. We started drilling in the area south of the road late last year. So at this stage, we've got very few drill holes over in the east. So the drilling that we've got planned at the moment, and as you rightly said, Eric, we've announced 20 holes to start with, but we've actually got a much bigger program than that planned. But the first 20 will dictate where we'll prioritise the drill, send the drill rig after that. So I can easily see this next phase of program, expanding to 30 or 40 drill holes.
Okay.
So we've got a number of objectives. So one is to extend the mineralisation further out in this direction, and see if we can extend it. And then also we're going to test further down dip. We think we could potentially extend the dip extent here, or double the dip extent in this direction. That would give us 300 metres in this area, based on the coincidence of the the geophysics, the IP and the downhole EM. And it was, and then over in this area, because the most recent results here in the massive chalcopyrite that we've been intersecting is telling us that the mineralisation looks to be getting better and thicker down dip. So it's completely open east, west, and to the north in this area.
Right.
Given that we're seeing these really high grades, I mean, it doesn't take much for that stuff. If it gets to a bit wider, then there's really quite rich mineralisation. A cubic metre of this sort of grade is about $4,000 a ton. So it's pretty valuable rock.
And do those grades, what do those grades tell you, if they tell you anything, in terms of the model, if you will? If you're seeing massive chalcopyrite, what does that tell you about where you think you might be in the system, or does it tell you anything?
No, what's telling us more is that this is capable of producing some really good grades. So I think that's the most important bit, and that the system is a pretty strong system.
Right.
It's had that it's been able to sort of concentrate the copper to that extent.
Right.
So it's not every day you see sort of grades of 15% copper. So that's what what we're hoping is that stuff starts to thicken up and we find a good body of that mineralisation. But it's very dense, so you don't need big volumes of that stuff to quickly add up tonnes, and it'd be pretty attractive. It's pretty attractive mineralisation at those sorts of grades. So so the drilling, as I said, extend it this way, extend it down dip, chase up this massive sulfide intersections we're getting here, which coincides very closely with this big conductor anomaly.
Right.
So the idea is to test more of that conductor anomaly, try and extend the mineralisation there, try and fill some of this gap in here, because we at the moment there's so few drill holes there to try and establish continuity. We want to try and see if we'd extend the near surface mineralisation to the east. We think there's a very good chance of that. So if this mineralisation that we've been hitting with the massive chalcopyrite, if that extends all the way to surface, that could give us 400 metres of dip extent. Nice. So it's a combination, Eric. We'll try and extend the mineralisation to the east, to the north, fill this gap here all the way to surface, and then look to push the mineralisation out to the west and north in this area. So,
and I know this part of Spain does get it gets a fair amount of rain in the wintertime, which of course is where we're at right now. Is that going to impact where you can drill, and if so, when do you expect the sort of the rainy season to ease off?
Well, it looks like the weather's getting better now, so fingers crossed. We've seen the rain, the worst of the rain for this year. So so we're just waiting for the ground to dry up now. So we've got one drill rig operating just in this area here at the moment, sort of around the edges of this, where the tracks are. Right. We've got better access. So this is a sort of a clay soil that gets very sticky, difficult to move in when it's wet. So soon as, and in fact, just yesterday we confirmed a second drill rig, and we're now also trying to get a third drill rig. So I imagine pretty soon we'll have 2 rigs operating, and hopefully we'll have a third operating pretty quickly to follow that.
Okay.
So we're starting in this area purely because of logistics, and then we'll look to have a couple of rigs, operating different areas, pushing testing those different areas that I outlined. And
you're gonna do a little. You mentioned in the news release you'll do a little bit more downhole EM.
Yeah.
Are there any thoughts yet to sort of testing that sort of northern, I guess I call it the northern anomaly, where it seemed like your IP chargeability came, it dropped off as you went north, not surprising, and then came right back up again, I don't know, 500-600 meters north. You got any plans for that, or is that for later?
Yeah, look, we've got, I guess, with the geophysics that we have in mind, we're looking to extend the geophysics further to the west and to the east, because
Right.
the strike, the target, if you like, here is 2.5 kilometres long. We've only been focused on about a third of that at this stage. So we'll look to extend the geophysics east and west. And so far, we've only been looking pretty shallow.
Right.
So we're now considering doing some deeper looking geophysics to see what might be going on with this massive sulfide we've been hitting off to the north, where it starts to get deeper. And then third thing we'll be looking at is to try and extend that and test a bit more of that northern geophysics anomaly just to the north of Laramana.
Right.
And I hope to put a drill hole into that pretty early, perhaps towards the back end of this program.
Just to see what it is, basically. Yeah.
That's right. And then, of course, with the downhole EM that we've been doing, it's worked so well. I mean, we're hitting the mineralisation, every time exactly currents pretty much spot on with the position of the conductor. So that's giving us a pretty high confidence when we see these conductor anomalies to keep why we think we could extend the mineralisation in all these different directions.
Yeah, and it bears repeating. I mean, Tim mentioned that the target overall is about 2.5 kilometers. I mean, for a VMS system, this is a really big target. Like, I feel a bit like a broken record saying this, but I do think it bears repeating. There's no doubt in my mind, Tim's getting a lot of incoming calls from the usual suspects, because for a relatively intact VMS system, this is quite large. This is going to add up to a fair amount of tons. One thing I know you're getting a lot of phone calls about is people trying to give you money, and I think it's worth you walking people through the financial position, because really it doesn't sound to me like you've got any interest in doing a financing anytime soon.
Yeah, look, there has been some questions being asked and some money being offered, and look, that's not been our priority. Our treasury is in pretty good shape. We had about $4 million, a bit over that, left at the end of last year. This drill program is about 1.3 million for the 20 odd drill holes. That's everything except for people and office costs, basically. Right. So that leaves us with quite a bit of money to substantially expand this drill program. We could double it without running into any problems there. And we've got warrants that are all in the money at this stage. Two sets of warrants due to expire later this year that could net another 5 million at the back end of the year, and then some other warrants which are also out there, expired in the middle of next year, but could also be brought forward. So yeah, we're certainly not we're not desperate for another financing, and certainly not at any cost, sort of thing. So so we're in good shape financially.
Do you want to speak to this slide a little bit before we close things off?
Yeah, no, I just thought it's another perspective on it, just to 3 dimensions, looking sort of down on the geophysics. I've shown this type of slide before, slightly updated with just 3 of the selected IP lines here, and you might recall our initial discovery holes were testing an IP anomaly. We did downhole EM and showed that the copper mineralisation coincided very well with both the downhole EM and the IP chargeability response.
Right.
So we've seen that response repeated right across this area, and so with that gives us some confidence that we've got more to find here. So it's why we think, based on the geophysics in this area, why we think we could double the dip extent down in here. Why it's still open in this direction, we could extend it to the west, off to the right of this image. You can see big gaps in the drilling in just in this section alone, and you see the same scenario here, that coincidence of the downhole EM conductor with the geophysics anomaly as we've got over here. and no drill holes over here. So yeah, I just think you can see how little drilling we've got at this stage in this big conductor anomaly. Yeah, and as I said, we haven't been looking much deeper than that at this stage. So this is why I think we've got plenty of room for this thing to grow. Yeah, so drilling in this direction, drilling down dip, starting to fill this gap, try and extend the near surface mineralisation in this area, and then to try and test more of this conductor anomaly east and west as well. And that's a bit of core from this drill hole over here. So that's our easternmost hole in this area, and that hit massive chalcopyrite. Yep, absolutely coincident with the where it was predicted by the downhole EM. So we're just waiting for results of that. But that's obviously pretty high grade.
Yeah, that's more plug your toaster into it stuff. That one, it's pretty impressive. So, and you've had a little more. I mean, you've had certainly more luck than anybody in North America has when it comes to assays. I know things slow down for you as well, but it's nothing like it's nothing like the nightmare most of the North American guys are dealing with right now. So I mean, and it sounds like you're starting to get more results in now. So presumably once you start drilling, you'll probably have better turnarounds than most of the North American guys. It doesn't sound like there'll be much of a news flow gap for you. I mean, you're right into the drilling again.
Yeah, we've been fortunate, Eric. We had some delays last year, but certainly nothing like I was hearing about in North America. Turnaround time is about sort of 2 weeks to perhaps 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks, something like that. So, and all the range in between. So, that's not too bad compared to most other parts of the world. So, but we'll try and put out batches of results rather than one hole at a time. So, we'll just wait until we've got a meaningful number of drill holes to put out so that it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, we should have plenty of news. There's obviously seven drill holes still to report. We're drilling already. We've already finished one hole. We've just nearly finished the second hole of this program already. So things are going pretty quick. And once we have, another 1 or 2 drill rigs turning on here, we'll be shooting core out faster than we can keep up, I think.
Okay, that sounds great. I mean, it's nice to see you're expanding the number of rigs and accelerating everything. I mean, you always get enough target here. You could have 3 drill rigs going all year pretty easily. Yeah. And it sounds like that's, in effect, that's the plan. So, great story. And as one of the early slides noted, they've hit in every hole so far, tons and tons of target left. This is going to be a significant resource. I felt for a year now that this was going to be a project that was probably going to go all the way, and would probably have somebody else own it at some point. I don't think Tim's in a rush for that because he's got so much room to make this bigger. And I guess in, I don't know, hopefully 2-3 months, something like that. That's sort of the timeline you're hoping to have at El Andalus come in.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I mean, if it goes well, towards the end of this quarter, and maybe early the following quarter. So we're looking to be on the ground certainly by the middle of the year.
Okay, and that is a large concession that's to the east of La Romana, and that project also has several large gravity anomalies, which is, was essentially the starting point of La Romana was a gravity anomaly, and there's several like it on El Andalus. So once that's added to the mix, the number of targets Tim's going to have to work with basically goes up exponentially. So there's a lot to be done here. Great story. It's hanging in there very well. I mean, there's lots of stocks that have had pretty big dips lately, and Pan Global isn't one of them really. I mean, 60 back to 50, whatever, not a big deal. Trades good volume, very good story, great drill results, very, very strong technical team, great project. If you like copper, if you're one of those people who wants to get onto copper stories because of the electrification, the big underlying story that everybody's excited about lately, to my mind, this is one of the best copper exploration stories in the world right now. So this is a stock you definitely want to be paying attention to, even if you don't own it already. Pan Global, PGZ on the venture, PGN RF in the US. Thanks again for coming by today, Tim. And I'm sure once you get another set of 2 results out, we'll get online again and go through the new stuff.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. Thanks, everyone.